Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of correlation and regression, where we will be considering the market development so far. If we look at the developments in the European trading session, there has not been any momentum on either side. The market can't be considered bullish or bearish. We have seen a limited trading range in today's session, and I think the picture is not likely to change very much in the North American trading session as well. So we will be looking at the limited range in today's session unless any particular development causes the spike in these situation. So if we consider the Euro USD's price momentum so far, it has traded in a narrow range. Earlier in the day, during the Asian trading session, it gained around 30 pips, and during the European trading session, it gave up all of those gains, and now it is closer to the day's low point, not really far off from that. But if we consider this range of 30 pips, it is quite less compared to the volatility which we have observed in the recent days, and I think we will have to brace for it and look for the trading opportunities in light of these limited range, where we will have to trade cautiously and see what we can do, how we can profit in this current environment. So the momentum as of now for the euro is of consolidation with these bias slightly on the bearish side. We can't really say it is in bearish trend. It is not really trending much. We will have to try to use this range where we can try to go for a long trade closer to the lower range and go for a short sell trade if we see it consolidating closer to these immediate swing highs. But as I said, it is not trending, so in that case we have to figure out where we have the best momentum on either side. If we want to go for the short sell trade, then we will have to see if the euro is the most bearish instrument or if we have better choices somewhere else, and how the dollar is shaping up against most major currencies. So here the momentum is of consolidation with slight bias, as I said earlier also, on the bearish side, but we will have to trade cautiously here. Let's compare it to the price momentum of the AUD. The AUD has consolidated during today's trading session. After there is a slightly lower opening compared to the Friday's close, we have seen the AUD USD climbing up above 0.69, and after that it has been able to hold closer to these levels, and for larger part of the day it didn't really go anywhere, and now we are seeing a fresh swing high, a fresh day high being made just close to 0.6920 range. And contrary to the case of the euro, the AUD is consolidating with the bias on the bullish side. So we have the contrasting picture in these two major currencies. So we can say that the dollar is also in a consolidation phase. It is gaining some ground against the euro, but it is losing the ground against the Australian dollar. And in this case also, if we don't really see any fresh correction deeper below 0.6910 range, and if we see the AUD consolidating and holding closer to these immediate swing highs, which it has now broken past, we can be further hopeful of gains towards 0.6950. But for that, it becomes very important for the AUD to hold closer to these immediate swing highs and not really go back to where it was a couple of hours earlier around this 0.69 range. So only if it holds closer to these immediate swing highs, we can be confident, fairly confident of a initiation of the long trade with the expectation of further gains of around half a percentage point. To watch out for these price moves in next couple of hours, particularly after the start of North American trading session, where we can expect the volatility to increase as more money will be moving in and out of these forex majors as well as the equity segment. Now let's consider GBP, the British pound. British pound is following in footstep of its European peer. We are not really seeing much of a difference in terms of the price action with comparison of euro, but it is slightly better placed compared to the euro in terms of buying. But as I said, the AUD is much better placed, so we will have to ignore the GBP. GBP can neither be considered for the sale nor for the buy, so it is somewhere in the middle of the pack, which is better overlooked. NZD is in line with its Asia Pacific peer AUD. The NZD saw this sharp spike of around 15 to 20 pips, and it has been able to hold above this immediate swing high. So that gives us hope that maybe again we will see the NZD climbing back toward the immediate swing high and even beyond that. So that possibility is quite strong. So watch out for the NZD's movement in next half an hour or 1 hour, and if it is able to hold and again gain some traction on the upside, we can indeed go for the long trade. But compared to the NZD, we have the AUD with better momentum. It is making this fresh swing high, and it has not really corrected much from this prior swing high as well. So that puts it on the better footing in comparison to the NZD. Now we will have to invert the scale and consider these USD CAD, USD CHF, and USD JPY. Let's see what's the story for USD JPY. USD JPY is also consolidating with these buyers on the bearish side. For the last couple of days, we have seen the 134 as a crucial level. For some days, it has been consolidating above it, and for other days, it has been consolidating below it. Now, here, if we see its break above this 134 level, particularly on this 15th February. After that, it has gone into this consolidation phase with the bias slightly on the bullish side. But this time around, it hasn't really found much of an buying, even though it has been holding closer to this level since Friday's trading session. In today's session, the price action has been rather muted, and given the tilt on the bearish side, I would not really recommend any buying at the current levels. We will have to keep looking for the short selling opportunities in light of its bias on the bearish side. So here, if we see it consolidating and trying to break below this 134 level, we can indeed look for the fresh initiation of the short sale with the expectation of the levels below this immediate swing low. The new low can be reached for today's trading session. That possibility is quite strong. But JPY is not that strongly placed as is the case with the AUD. So we will have to put the USD JPY behind the AUD USD in terms of its momentum. So still we have the AUD as the most bullish bet against the US dollar. Now let's consider USD CHF. USD CHF is not really going anywhere. Here we have this charting where the USD CHF has been struggling closer to this 0.9250 range, and for last couple of hours it has traded in this range of around 30 pips, which is in line with its European peers of Euro and GBP, and things are not really expected to change very much. So it is also giving us mixed signals. So it is neither bearish nor bullish, and it is also trading in a consolidation phase. So we have the euro as the most bearish of all the major currencies which we have seen so far, and AUD as the most bullish one against the US dollar. But before we can confirm the development, let's consider the USD CAD. And USD CAD is also seemingly on the bullish side, and here it has continued to gain the ground. And if we look at its days high established at 1.349 to the current low, it has declined around 40 pips, so that puts it on a bullish footing against the US dollar. So here the momentum is clear, though it is also consolidating, but the bias is clearly on the lower side. And now the comparison with the AUD, let's consider AUD. I think AUD still can be considered as the better choice in comparison to the USD CAD. But the fact remains that we are likely to see slightly more volatility in USD CAD as both the markets, the Canadian as well as US markets, will be open for the trading. So you can expect the range for the USD CAD to be more than the AUD as the Asian markets are going to open tomorrow only. So on that count, maybe the preference can be given to the USD CAD, but in terms of the momentum, there is not much of a difference. So you will have to decide for yourself, and at the moment of taking decision, how the things are shaping up. Now let's turn our gaze to the equity side and see how the three key equity indices for the hello Tana, and how things are shaping up for the US equity indices, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and Nasdaq in particular. Let's consider the larger time frame charting first. Here, the Friday's closing levels are also the guiding factor in today's trading session. We haven't really seen the US equity futures moving much in today's trading session. The levels are fairly close to these Friday's closing levels. So now here the momentum is not that clear, and I think we will have to observe the price formation after the start of North American trading session, the US trading session, and in initial volatility we will get some markers of how to proceed in today's trading session. So watch out for these levels of around 33,800 on the higher side. If we see these levels holding and further gains in few initial minutes after the start of US trading session, we can be confident of the Dow Jones Industrial Average climbing toward this immediate swing high and even beyond that. But if the things don't really turn out on the upper side, and if we get the break on the lower side, then we will have to allow the price formation to solidify for much more time, as we can't really go short on these levels as there is not much of an clarity on the lower side. But given the fact that we had the momentum on the upside in Friday's trading session, so that backdrop can be considered for considering the upside trade. So here these levels are important around 33,800, and watch out for the initial price action after the start of US trading session. But to decide whether the Dow Jones is the best place choice, or if we have the momentum on the bullish side in S&P 500, the S&P 500 is not showing the momentum as strong as the case for S&P 500. Sorry, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So I think we will have to give the weightage on the upside for Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Nasdaq also is having a move on the upside, which is looking much better in comparison to the S&P 500. Its gains from the low of the day towards this high are around half a percentage point. So on both these counts, the magnitude of this move as well as in terms of the timeline, the Nasdaq is in a better position compared to the Dow Jones Industrial Average as well as the S&P 500. So we will have to give this first preference for the buy trade in Nasdaq, and if we see the price consolidating and holding closer to the 12,350 levels and a further break above 12,400, can be a further confirmation sign that our anticipation is playing out well, and we can indeed go for the initiation of the long trade. So that's my assessment looking at the current situation, current price formation.